From group 2, our topic is thermal pollutions. My group member have Alistair, Rajila, Noel, and me, Fengzi. Let us go through the introduction. Thermal pollution is defined as a sudden increase or decrease in temperatures of a nature's body of water, which may be oceans, lakes, river, or pond by human influence. This normally occurs when a plant or facility takes in water from a nature's resource and put it back with an altered temperature. Usually, these facilities use it as a cooling method for their machinery or to help better produce their products. Thermal pollution divided in three parts: backgrounds, factors, and solutions.
Study case background: Brayton Point Power Station in Somerset, Mass. Loji tersebut dibuka pada pertengahan tahun 1960-an dan ditutup pada 31 Mei 2017. Pemilik pada masa itu, Dynegy Inc., yang berpusat di Houston, menyalahkan penutupan itu kerana harga gas asli yang rendah. Penentangan dan pakar tenaga kemudahan ini membuat spekulasi bahawa kos peningkatan dan protes kawalan pencemaran menyumbang kepada penutupan kilang. Menurut Environmental Protection Agency (EPA), pelepasan dari stesen kuasa Brayton Point bertanggungjawab setiap tahun atas 32 kematian, 61 serangan jantung dan 472 serangan asma di daerah sekitarnya. Save the Bay mengatakan water heated atau thermal pollution yang dikeluarkan dari loji kuasa ke Mount Hope Bay menyebabkan kerosakan alam sekitar. Pada puncaknya, 1 bilion galen air panas dipam setiap hari ke sungai Taunton dan Teluk, menyumbang kepada 87% penyakit ikan seperti musim sejuk dan pelbagai air lain.
Next is a factor of thermal pollution. The major sources are discharge of heated water or hot waste material into water bodies from nuclear power plant, industrial influence, domestic sewage, hydroelectric power, and thermal shock. First factor is nuclear power plant and industrial influence. These two factors is the same meaning. So for this factor of thermal pollution is the use of water as a coolant by power plants and industrial manufacturers. When water used as a coolant is returned to the sudden environment at a higher temperature, the sudden change in temperature, the sudden supply and affects ecosystem composition. Emission from nuclear reactor increase the temperature of water bodies into 9 to 20 degrees. Discharged water from steam electric power industry using turbo generator will have a higher temperature, ranging from 6 to 9 degrees than the receiving water. And these are examples of nuclear power plant and industry influence. Next factor is domestic sewage. Sewage is commonly discharged into lakes, canals, or streams. Municipal sewage normally has a higher temperature than the receiving water. Also, increase in temperature of the receiving water decrease the dissolved oxygen or water. The forced mailing gases increase in water, resulting in death of marine organisms. And these are examples from domestic sewage. Three is hydroelectric power. Is the term referring to electric generated by hydropower to production of electrical power through the use of the gravitational force of falling or flowing water. Hydropower plants derive energy from the force of moving water and harness this energy of useful purposes. Is the type of renewable energy and once the power plant is contracted, its produce little to no waste. Creates less heat on water sources less than nuclear power plant. The last factor is thermal shock. When a power plant first opens or shuts down for repair or other causes, fish and other organisms adapted to a particular temperature range can be killed by the upfront change in water temperature known as thermal shocks. Failure due to thermal shock can be prevented by reducing the thermal gradient seen by the object, by changing its temperature more slowly or increasing the material's thermal conductivity, and then increase its strength. And these are examples of thermal shock.
Control of thermal pollution is necessary as its detrimental effects on aquatic ecosystem may be detrimental in the future. Viable solutions to chronic thermal discharge into water bodies are cooling ponds, cooling towers, and artificial lake. We move to the first solution, which is cooling ponds. Cooling ponds are reservoirs constitute the simplest method of controlling thermal discharge. Heated effluents on the surface of water in cooling pond maximize dissipation of heat to the atmosphere and minimize the water area and volume. This is the simplest and cheapest method which cools the water to a considerable low temperature. However, the technique alone is less desirable and inefficient in terms of air-water contact. Secondly is cooling towers. Using water from water sources for cooling purposes with subsequent return to the water body after passing through the condenser is termed as cooling process. In order to make the cooling process more effective, cooling towers are designed to control the temperature of water. In fact, cooling towers are used to dissipate the recovered waste bit so as to eliminate the problems of thermal pollution. Last but not least is artificial lake. Artificial lakes are man-made bodies of water which offer possible alternative to ones through cooling. The heated effluents may be discharged into the lake at one end and to water for cooling purposes may be withdrawn from the other hand. The heat is eventually dissipated through evaporation. These lakes have to be rejuvenated continuously. A number of methods have been suggested and developed for converting the thermal effluents from power plants into useful heat resources for maximizing the benefit. This is the potential physical application, which is industrial and space heating, biological applications such as soil warming and fish culture, livestock shelters, and for heating greenhouse. Most of these potential physical applications are of colder regions or locations.
Let me continue to the conclusions. The most important things to consider is that the effects of thermal pollution greatly outweigh the human needs for it to be done. Plants and industry have been able to find successful ways around thermal pollution, but many of them are not practicing it because it's simply easier to work from the traditional model. If we want to promote the thriving environments that surrounds marine biology, then the attitude around thermal pollution needs to take a drastic turn. By being aware of the cause and the effect, you can have a significant impact on how this plant choose to operate, and you can to make the change. Thank you.